Recording.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Biz Boyz broadcast number 3. My name is Mason Money.
I'm Russ Console.
And we bring to you this week in the Biz Boyz broadcast, we're going to be talking about rapid prototyping this week. So as we talked about last week, we kind of went over our format of this broadcast. And we laid it out here on this slide so that you guys can follow along with us throughout the broadcast. Just to go over real quickly, we're going to talk about current events. Then we're going to go into Berry Wi-Fi update, kind of what's going on with our business. And spoiler alert, nothing. So we'll move quickly through that one. Then we'll talk about our business idea of the week. So I have an idea. It's a really stupid one, but I think I'm going to talk about it. We'll see what happens. And then finally, the lesson of the week. And we're going to try to follow the general topic of rapid prototypes when we go through these in different sections of the broadcast.
No guarantees.
No guarantees. Is that everything? I think I hit everything on that.
Well, there are 4 things. We talked about each of them, so that's everything.
Oh, thank you, Russ. See, this is why I pay him the big bucks.
Right.
All right, so I guess moving forward, we're going to go with current events. Okay, I'm going to start off, since I'm number 1, with my current event of the week. So, Russ, rapid prototyping. What do you happens?
I haven't looked at your picture yet.
Yeah, so what does this look like to you? What does it look like?
Well, it looks like VR goggles, but he's looking at something. So is it VR or is it like a microscope goggles?
Then what's this thing?
Is it AR goggles?
Oh, maybe. What's this thing here?
Oh no, it's a controller. So maybe it's VR building a sculpture with the robot.
Very close,
Yeah.
very close.
Okay.
It's actually AR. You were correct.
AR.
It's actually cameras on here, so essentially it's a really, really fancy AR.
Okay.
So the camera's on here, so he'll see everything in real life. But this is a 3D printer. So what he's doing is he's building a 3D model in real life, and the printer is in live time building the mesh net of whatever he's developing. Before I talk anymore, let's go through the video. In the picture, if you click it, it'll take us to hopefully YouTube.
You inlaid a link in here?
I did.
Wow.
I was like, really.
That's impressive.
Really, really top quality stuff. Oh, yeah, there we go. If we can full screen this bitch. Sponsored by UCF. That's my alma mater, my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Fuck yes. So what he's doing here is he's seeing, this is what he sees. And in real life, he's actually basically building the model with the things he has in real life. He uses his hands. He uses like all sorts of different things to build a model. If you have, you're an aerospace engineer, so you've probably done a lot of 3D modeling.
Yeah.
Instead of just computer-based, these guys build it in real life. And right now, all they can do, at least all I can see, is they can do wireframes. But they can make some pretty cool things out of the wireframe. Later in the video, they actually make a stand for like a fighter pilot model, and it was really cool. But the reason I brought this up was, one, rapid prototyping. So the 3D printer is really what I would call the pinnacle of technology when it comes to rapid prototyping. Like 3D printer, you literally come up with an idea and boom, it's there for you. Anybody can do it. I had a 3D printer in my old college dorm. I did it all the time. It was awesome. But the reason why, mixed with AR technology, becomes outstandingly advanced. I think it's really cool, and it opens up doors for, I think, numerous industries.
I'm sure there's a use.
Yeah.
Building this pot thing, I don't think is the best use.
No.
I mean, they already had a 3D model, it looked like, in there. I feel like the robot with programming could do it a lot better than somebody in AR.
Would you drink tea out
No,
of that
I would
pot?
not drink tea out of that piece of shit.
But I think the kind of industries this opens up, obviously things like, I'd love to see people at home be able to do this, build their own things, because I think this is real inventor, tinker shit kind of thing. I was trying to think of industries that would really benefit from hand models. I think defensive industry would quite a lot. Lockheed Martin, those kind of contractors, they oftentimes build these little small things to fix their problems.
I saw, when I was looking for beta testing, like rapid prototyping current events, I saw HoloLens 2. Microsoft's HoloLens is releasing the second version right now, which means like their HoloLens 1 was like their initial go at AR technology that would help people develop products, and now HoloLens 2, they're just building on it, obviously.
Gotcha.
Just like any other products, but that was cool, sort of like this. But
yeah. I think this opens up a lot of classroom educational opportunities. You know, I could see UCF having their students do these types of things, understand more about dynamics of a wireframe. You know, you can do static and dynamics classes where you're analyzing the forces within the wireframe, and 3D modeling at that. And you know, they can teach you how an ink printer or a 3D printer jet works and things like that. So
this would pretty much be limited to using materials that dried quickly.
Oh, I mean,
you wouldn't want to sit there in AR and wait for things that took a long time to dry.
Yeah, but that's already basically done in the. I mean, 3D printing. There's tens of. I should probably say there's dozens of different plastic material, and they're actually coming out with 3D metal printing. So now you can print metal objects.
Right, but I don't think you would be able to do that with this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can use the same material. It's the same. This is a.
It
this
dries
is
quick enough, or cools quick enough for that to.
Well, I mean, yeah, essentially, it would be within, a couple hours at most, in most cases. So yeah, absolutely, this would. The same kind of materials that you would use in 3D printing that people use in their homes, you would use for this.
Did you ever hear about the fighter jets that were going to be like grown in like a vat of liquid? I need to look that up again.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It sounds complex. I think oh no, here it is. Here's the fighter jet with the stand. So they basically modeled the fighter jet and then built a stand for that fighter jet, which I think is really cool. I was actually really surprised that the plastic material was strong enough to do to hold the fighter jet, but absolutely is. It looks pretty rigid. So that's it. That's my current event of the week. I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to see where people take AR and VR. Nice. And it's really cool that we were able to find it in a rapid prototyping. But yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what.
And we're gonna.
If that's. Yeah. It looks like it's in the early stages, so I wonder what it's going to turn into and all the different things they can use that technology for.
Yeah, the article, because it was developed by my college. What? Go Golden Knights, UCF. It was actually built by my college, and the article that we'll try to link it in the description of the video, just so if you want to go at home, go read the article. I recommend it. It's actually really interesting. It kind of goes into the possible industries that this could impact or improve. It's kind of the ones I've said mostly. But yeah, what's yours? What do you got?
I've got Amazon, so not a small business, but they're starting to test out their own shipping service. So
again.
What?
Again? What happened to the drones? Did they ever work that out?
I'm not sure where their drone shipping is right now. They probably ran into problems with the FAA, most likely. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But they're testing now a service that would compete with UPS and FedEx.
Okay.
So right now they don't do any of the shipping from the merchants, the people that are like selling the products, to their warehouses. Historically, they've never done that. They always have the merchants ship their products to the Amazon warehouses, and then they get them shipped out to customers. But UPS and FedEx are the ones that go to the Amazon warehouses. They're trying to make Amazon shipping be that bridge. So they'll actually go out to the merchants and bring the packages to the warehouses. It's just a new thing. They started doing it. And after that, they'll be able to do direct merchant to consumer shipping rather than through their warehouse. Obviously, it's going to be better and a lot of times to still ship to the warehouses, but they're going to try to have it available to ship directly from merchant to consumer.
Do you think Amazon's going to try to acquire UPS or FedEx? Because that sounds like a vertical integration to me. Because they're completely a distribution network, but to do that, you need quite a lot of inventory, or not a infrastructure to be able to handle most of that.
I guess it's possible.
Sorry, Russ. Eventually, I'll get a camera that doesn't suck ass, but one of these days. All right. What you were saying?
I don't remember.
Perfect. Moving on. No. What I was saying was acquisitions and mergers. Do you think in order for Amazon to expand in like the delivery service, actually the true delivery service, do you think they're going to integrate or acquire or merge with UPS or FedEx?
I'd probably guess if they did, that'd be way down the line. They'll probably compete with them first. And then if they take over a large enough market share, I could see them buying out one of them.
That's interesting. Okay.
But But it tells you that even though there's huge companies, they still do small tests. I didn't go into it yet, so I'll go into that a little bit. Right now, they started just in the Los Angeles area over the course of 2018. Just in the Los Angeles area, a couple of merchants around Los Angeles to the Amazon warehouse in Los Angeles. That was the only thing they were testing. But recently, going into 2019, they added a new location. They're keeping it very secretive, so we don't know where that location is, but there's also some rumors that they're also doing direct from merchant to consumer now a little bit.
Okay.
But that was unsubstantiated claims, and we don't know if that's true.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, Amazon, being a huge company, still does prototyping and testing of new services, getting out initial trials to see how it works and build it up from there.
Interesting. I look forward to see how that goes. I think that Amazon is going to look to acquire a merger much quicker than you think. I think they're going to test it out as an idea, but I don't think they're going to go into building infrastructure. I think they're going to go straight to buy.
Why would they bother with testing anything if they could just buy what already existed?
Because they're going to buy, so they want to test before they buy something, right? They want to test to see if this is a worthwhile, hey, can I squeeze efficiency out of this? So otherwise, you could buy something, there's no synergy there, then your acquisition and merger is completely useless. It's all about gaining the synergy.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they're gonna do that, but I look forward to see it, but I'm a little worried that's gonna be creating a huge monopoly.
Oh no!
Yeah, so
monopoly.
That's last week's episode. You should look into that because we talked about antitrust and acquisition and mergers and a little bit about government regulation, but we won't go with that today. But yeah, so that's really cool. So it's interesting to see. All right. Okay. Berry Wi-Fi status update. So we try to give you every week what we're doing with Berry Wi-Fi, just because that's the other thing that takes up. Well, I wouldn't say a huge part of our time, but a pretty good part of it. But anyway, so what's happened this week, Russ? Nothing. Yeah. Not much has happened this week. We're basically. Well, do you want to go into it?
Well, I think we mentioned last week that there were a couple customers that we had potential customers that we had started talking to a little bit. We've continued that conversation a little more, but nothing else besides that.
Okay.
Again, we already have a product that we think is testable, and so we're not going to be putting a ton of extra work into the product till we get some feedback. So we're not really working on the product until we get some feedback. So we're just trying to find those prospective clients.
Yeah, that goes a little bit into, actually we could probably stretch it to rapid prototyping. So the thing about rapid prototyping is it's all about efficiency of effort. You get your product out there to get user feedback, and you stop making tweaks that you think are good. You make tweaks that are spawned by user feedback, because those are the people who actually use your product. So you can spin your wheels developing your product, making tweaks, bells and whistles to it, and it may turn out that you never actually need those bells and whistles. The user never asked for it. So rapid prototyping, you really just gotta. It's about putting you're listening to your users and using or making the changes that they want. So that's mostly rapid prototyping in my mind, and that's what we're doing right now for Berry.
And maybe just waiting around for customers is the wrong way to go. Maybe we should be working a little more on the product and fixing what we think that could be better. But that would cost a lot of time and money. And until we get feedback, we're gonna focus on just getting clients. And the other things is maybe doing more broadcast stuff, setting this up, getting the processes down towards making this broadcast so it's easier when we have Berry at the same time as this broadcast. Hopefully the processes are all set up so we can do both at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be a good point of our use of our time.
That's the idea, but maybe we're wrong.
Maybe we're wrong. That's the whole point of doing it. That's the whole point of doing this. If we're wrong next week, we're gonna come back and say, hey, we were wrong. Turns out. But that's the whole point of doing this. We're not going to be wrong 100% of the time. We're just going to show you what we think, and if we're wrong, we'll tell you though. We'll tell you when we're wrong. All right. So before we go on to the next one, go back. Okay. So rapid prototyping. What do you think when you think rapid prototyping, Ross? Consulting, that's what you think of, Russ.
Consulting?
Yes.
I don't know why I would think consulting.
You would absolutely
I was
think
thinking
of
agile.
Okay,
Agile
so
development.
let me paint the picture for you. I'm going to lead you there, okay? By the end of it, you're going to agree with me.
Okay.
I hope.
I don't agree with you.
Russ, agree with
By
me.
the end of it, maybe I won't.
So, consulting. Do you have any experience with consulting, or have you known a consultant in your life, Russ? Anybody who consults?
Yes.
Okay.
I know a financial manager for Chase.
Okay.
Yep.
So I took, I'm obviously an expert because I took one class in consulting in my MBA. And the thing I learned for consulting was they are very good. So big companies will hire consultants and they'll hire the right consultant for the job. Typically one or two, sometimes a team if they can afford it.
That kind of consulting.
Yeah, yeah. This is the kind of like Booz Allen Hamilton, McKinsey, Bain, the companies who specialize in giving away their specialists to other companies to solve a problem.
Okay.
What is the current problem I see with that? One, expensive. You're essentially paying a salary for a flex time person who has the incentive to get the job done, but takes a lot of your money to do it. Another problem is you typically only get one of them. Unless you're a big company and you really have a lot of budget, you can get a team of them. But really you're stuck with that one person.
Yeah.
And if
limited to their perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's one way to fix that? Well, let me present to you a similar industry that faced this problem and found their solution. A similar industry was loans. So loans was you typically, when you were a small-time person who with no credit history, no kind of experience, let's say third world country, and you wanted to get a loan, most banks said, yeah, forget it. I'm not going to give you my money. Right? And that's because oftentimes they ask for a pretty good amount, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 sometimes. And banks were like, no, it's too much money for you who has no experience and no history.
Right.
Well, Kiva, which Kiva was a company who was actually inspired by a gentleman, gosh, I forget the man's name, but he inspired an industry called microloans, which is essentially people funding people.
Right.
So if I'm a person, I can go on a website or a platform and say, hey, I need $10,000.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple of those.
To this project, and I will pay you back your money with interest. And you can put in a certain minimum amount, but it's only about maybe $100 or maybe $1,000, which is maybe a single person can take. And getting a whole bunch of people together to get that one person its whole loan.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I call crowdsourced loans, or micro loans is what it's more commonly called as. Now, how does that apply to consulting? What if we could somehow crowdsource consulting? If we could get opinions of experts, or let's say opinions of people who know a thing or two from the internet, a whole bunch of them, onto a project that the company has.
I like that idea because aggregating opinions has always turned out to be statistically over a certain number of decisions better than any expert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So introducing, you won't be able to see any of it. So at this point in the video, I think we're going to edit our personas out of it, and now you're just going to see this on the screen. I don't know, maybe if I'm fancy. If not, then you get to see the screen that you probably can't read right now. But essentially what it says, it's crowdsourced consulting. That's the business idea that I came up with. It's essentially saying, what if I was a company, let's say I'm a small business, right? I don't have much money, but I have a problem. My business is suffering right now, and I think it's something to do with my process of paying my customers, building a sandwich and getting it to them, right? There's something wrong, it takes too long. I've identified it, I just don't know how to fix it. So I'm gonna go and ask for help. If I was a normal small business and I wanted a professional's experience, I'd have to go to a consulting firm like Bain, McKinsey, Booz Allen Hamilton. There's hundreds of them throughout the country. And I would have to go pay pretty expensive for a single person to help me out with my problem.
Right.
What if I could build or go to an online platform with proper NDAs, proper ways of distributing my proprietary information, let's say that, and I could sign up a couple of professional consultants whose resumes I can read on the platform, pay a small fee, and get their opinions on my business.
Well, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think I would be able to save money in the long run. I'd have more opinions, and I would be able to, if I wanted to, pick the person who had the best idea and have them fix my problem and implement the solution.
Yeah.
So I think that is a much more effective way.
Have you heard of?
Oh gosh! Don't tell me this idea is taken.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not consulting. Have you ever
Okay.
heard of what is it? Have you ever heard of OpenBay?
OpenBay? No, I haven't.
It's a auto mechanic website thing where if you need a repair service done, you already need to know the repairs that your car needs, but you can go on and say, I need these repairs, and it'll send out a request for quotes to all of the auto shops anywhere near you, and they'll look at it and give you all competing quotes, so you can pick from the best person based on, and they all have ratings attached to them.
I
so
think I've heard something similar. Yeah.
You can look at the ratings and the quote. So it's not super similar, but it's kind of similar in that you're taking all of these people from different places, putting them in one place, and choosing between. You might choose between the best or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
My question though was, how do you, if they're doing are they doing their consulting over the internet?
So that's a good question. So
How do they get them? If so, how do you get them the data they need?
yeah, so that's a great question. So there's I think two underlying challenges there. There's the NDA portion of it, which may be easy to solve. You send an NDA over line, they sign it, and you have contractually obligated them not to speak your proprietary information.
Right.
And I also think so there's that piece, and then there's also how do you get them the right amount of information so that they can at least be able to make a well-informed decision, because a problem like that could be complex. He would have to know how does the business work, how's the process work, and things like that. I think the importance, at least in the beginning of the platform, is to establish a way of communicating effectively. Dropbox, teleconferencing, live streaming, stuff like that. That's the first part, I think. And then the next part is be able to maybe share files and things like that, and look at and be able to look at their maybe financial statements or just other PDF files. But I think that's the two most important things. It's kind of rudimentary, but I think it's crucial that they be able to at least communicate effectively.
Okay.
I think some underlying partnerships there is things like Skype. Partner with Skype to be able to stream more effectively. Yeah. Or maybe another video to conferencing kind of thing. Maybe I have to partner with Dropboxes or things like that, so they can share files easier. Okay. I think that's probably the way I would start it. Hopefully, eventually, I would be able to build a platform that could help guide a small business to preparing the right information for a consultant without having to meet them. Yeah. But I think I would only know that much, or I know that information after people have used the platform and identify patterns in the information they need. So.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Yeah, this thing.
Yes, so I'm introducing this for the first time. So for all those of you who have already read this, I probably should have done this in the intro, but essentially this is the business model canvas, sort of. I call it the Biz Boyz business model canvas because there's a business model canvas, there's a lean business model canvas, and then there's this thing, which I call the emaciated business model canvas. I've taken a couple parts that some people may call crucial, I call a little less important, out of it just to fit a slide because there's actually 4 other boxes I could have put in here, but I wouldn't have been able to make it work or fit. But anyway, so let's go through this. So the way I read the business model canvas, it kind of starts from left to right. So you start off with the most important thing to any business idea, which is the value. You want to make sure that it actually provides value to your customers, in this case, or your consumers. And I kind of went into it, but I'll go over it again. I think this platform has the potential to be more affordable to small businesses, being able to just pay a small fee to get a wider range of opinions, and then just pick and select a single solution that you like, and then you pay the upfront costs. Okay. I think you can be, I say more secure. I don't think that's the right word. I think I can offer a secure way of doing it, NDAs and things like that, to make sure that lines aren't crossed. I don't think it's necessarily more secure than the alternative, which is just hire a consultant.
Right.
So maybe more secure isn't the right word. I might have been a little bit too aggressive on that. Access to more consultants, like I said before, I think you get more opinions, a bigger team, and perspectives and experiences with this kind of platform. And I think that's the real biggest value to it. And then finally, resume booster. So I think there's value on the other side, which is the consultants. There may be people like you and me who have some experience in the industry, but we don't have a really good job. We could sign up for some of these projects, and potentially if we get signed up as a client afterwards, we'd be able to boost our resumes and say we were part of this project without having to work for a company. So it'd be like an independent Lancer or indie, what is it called? Lancer? Is it Lancer? Freelancer consultant kind of thing. You wouldn't have to sign up for a company or a thing like that.
Yeah.
So revenue streams. So I think there's two types of revenue streams. There's advertising, but I think my main philosophy with advertising is you can advertise the shit out of any product, and any business can get advertising revenue. I think in 99% of cases, it's going to be the least amount of revenue that comes into your company. Facebook is obviously the exception. Well, in Facebook's case, it's pretty much mostly the only source of revenue in their company, but it's in other businesses is mostly negligible. I think the what's going to get you the most of your revenue in this idea is your subscription. So I think I would charge not for the consultants, but for the small businesses a subscription fee to use my platform. So they could present ideas and problems to the platform. They could pay a tiered package subscription fee, monthly fee, to be able to use my platform.
By using your platform, you mean they pay the subscription fee and they don't have to pay to be consulted with? To get consulting after that?
Yeah, so they would basically, I think there's two parts to that. So they would be able to put their project online and get a whole bunch of opinions to it. If they want to specifically identify a person, then they have to go through I think much smaller negotiation with that person, and they have to pay them more, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point you're taking more of that individual's time. But I think just to get a wide array of first impression opinions, it's just a small subscription fee. I think there's also a project closing fee. Like, so let's say I'm a small business and I get a whole bunch of opinions and I really like this one guy. I sign up with that one guy, I get a contract with him, and you can use my site to do it. Yeah. And you pay him more when he gets the project closed. Yeah. We get a small commission off of that.
I like that one better than subscription. Not that a subscription wouldn't exist, but I don't think the subscription would be for the consulting. I think all the consulting fees would be from the project closing, and anything that people would subscribe to would be extra features that are inherent in your platform that are separate from people giving you consulting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The only issue with that is, let's say I have a whole bunch of people who can just use my platform. Uh-oh. Russ, did you break our TV?
I think my computer might have died. Oh, no. It didn't die. I don't know what's going on.
There we go. And we're back. Okay. So the only issue with that is if I only rely on this, I have to rely on people to go throughout the project. And most people could use my online platform and not pay me a dime. And that's not a very sustainable business model. So they could go put their projects online, get those first impression opinions, and leave the platform, and then that's it. Then it's a free platform where I'm not really making any money.
Does it have to be project closing fee?
No, it could be opinion fee.
Like, do consultants not get paid for a first time?
No, this part would be, I believe, to give the first impressions, the consultants would not be paid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to give a really good opinion, a really good perspective, and a good solution. Okay. So that you're picked, and so it's incentive for you to get picked and do this project closing fee.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, moving on from that, we have suppliers and customer relationships. This is actually a pretty simple model in terms of logistics-wise. It's an online platform. So, the way we get our suppliers, our clients, and our consultants, that's the product we're getting, is through internet and social media. So we would advertise to get consultants, and we would advertise to get our clients. Pretty simple, actually. Yeah, it's not really too complicated. Maybe word of mouth or something like that. Customer relationship. So essentially for customer relationship, the best thing that I would do for this platform is on both sides have a rating and leveling system for both the clients and the consultants.
Yeah.
So that you as a consultant, you can go online, you can see a client put up a problem, but you also know more about that client's history so that, maybe
they're difficult to work with.
They suck at paying you on time, those kind of things. That's what you would want to know. And me
You wouldn't have the paying problem if your platform was run through cryptocurrency that automatically.
God, no, I'm not going to get into this, Russ. I'm not going to get into cryptocurrency.
Smart contracts, man.
And there's also a rating leveling system on the other side, right? It's really important to have a rating leveling system. As a client, I'd want to know different consultants, what's their rating? If I'm going to go truly and pick a guy, I want to know what his past projects were like. Mm-hmm. So that's how I think the customer relationship is going to work on both sides. Is there needs to be a good rating system.
Okay.
Moving on to 1 second. Oh God.
Moving on to something. Don't know. All right, moving on.
Cost structure. So essentially, what are the costs of the business? So I told you how I'm going to make money, but obviously it comes with a cost. Mm-hmm. The initial investment. So I broke this up into 2 ways. There's an initial investment you pay one time upfront, able to build this business, and then there's a recurring fee. There's a recurring fee to get or to continue your business sustainment. Now, I think this is where a tricky part comes in. Initial investment is simply you got to develop the platform and you got to acquire clients and actually customers, to be fair. So there's the initial investment in that.
Yeah.
Recurring. So this is where I kind of gripped with. I actually thought in the beginning there were no recurring costs. Very, very little. Administrative, and I kind of push aside running an office or things like that. That's not what I care about in my recurring fees. They exist, but that's not what I focus on. I focus on what is the recurring cost to provide this value. I think there might be a small fee that I pay to consultants to actually run or to be on this platform. So,
meaning like if they never got any clients, they'd still get some money just for being a consultant present on the platform?
Possibly only for a certain time period. If they were inactive for a certain time, I would kick them off or not pay. Maybe I would just not pay them anymore. They could stay on the platform, but I would not pay them anymore. And that's to give them incentive in some way to stay on the platform.
Right.
And to be active.
Free money.
Free. I don't like the idea of it, and I will start off in the idea without doing that, just because I think it's not necessary until I know absolutely for sure it is. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably stay away from that for now, or in the beginning until I need it.
I think you might have mentioned it. You got your administrative fees. You're gonna have to hire people and whatever else. But how much that's gonna be, I don't know.
I think I try to identify what's the unique recurring cost, because I think that's a fact of life for every business.
Yeah.
So. I think those exist, but that's not what I focus on. Okay, customer segments. So we'll probably talk about it in a future podcast for marketing, but I'm a huge fan of not doing customer segmentation. I think you should mass market any idea, any product to everybody as much as possible. But that's given an infinite budget and an infinite amount of time. Companies like Colgate, Nike, Coca-Cola, they do just that. But they have pretty much an infinite advertising budget and a long-standing history. Most of those companies are decades old. And me as a small business, I don't have an infinite budget and I'm just starting out. So I have to segment in some way just to focus my money and make it work smarter.
Yeah.
So that is the only time I agree with customer segmentation. And in this case, the first people I would target is small businesses, because small businesses are the ones who suffer the most from buying consultants currently.
Right. Yeah, with their budgets and everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then finally, channels. So I guess I mentioned before, this is a distribution online platform. So there is no physical distribution, which is the beauty of this. There's no physical hardware. I don't have to deal with inventory management or logistics or supply chain or anything like that. So that's the good thing about this idea. I also wanted to mention there's probably partnerships I can do here with Skype, with Dropbox.
So you don't want to package your consultants in a box?
Oh,
and
just ship them out. I think
Yeah.
they I'd have to find really, really young ones because they won't fit in the box.
Really big boxes. Just make sure you put some holes in it, otherwise they won't be very useful when you get there.
Put some lettuce in there. Just sprinkle some lettuce or hay or something like that.
Need a consultant? Here you go.
The consultant showed up and it was just a skeleton. What the hell kind of thing are you shipping me? It was dead.
Exactly. That's what you're gonna be if you don't shape the fuck up. Your business.
And partnership with Skype and Dropbox and things like that to make the platform run more smoothly with the critical things it needs to do.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my idea. Crowdsource consulting.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like crowdsourced anything.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
There was a book. What was that book? It's a book all about crowdsourcing things. I don't remember what it was called.
No, link in the description if you remember.
I will put the link in the description. But it was all about, I mentioned it a minute ago, but that decisions by a ton of people with varying experiences, if you average their estimates over a lot of people, are statistically going to be better than any expert over time.
Interesting.
An expert, but if you compare an expert to a non-expert, obviously the expert's going to do better over time. But an expert compared to an aggregate of people, well, the aggregate will do better over time.
Interesting. All right.
I think one of the first examples of that was at I think it was back in early America. You would have to guess the weight of like a cow. Or a piece of cattle. For some reason, I think
I just like guessing weights of cows.
Oh, well,
it's a pastime. That's how they pass the time.
It was like trying to figure out what it's worth money wise. Anyway, they would have to guess the weight, and so when you average together all the people's guesses, it was always better than the experts. So there was always a couple people that guessed better than the average, but those were never the same people.
True story. That's why the UK currency is pounds, because they always measured pound as a currency. It's not true at all. I just made that up. But you believe me. That is confidence.
There was also like a missing boat that I forget where it went missing. I think it was the South Pacific. There was a missing boat, but due to currents and things, they were trying to find it. It had sunk like a long time ago. But they were trying to find where it would have landed because it was very valuable, the contents. And because of currents and things, there were multiple people that had guessed where it would be, but they were all very different. But when they averaged them all together, it was very close to what the actual estimate came out to be. It was less than a half mile from where the average was.
Is that fair though?
That might have just been a coincidence.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's also
that was just an anecdote.
If I get, if multiple people guess just a whole bunch of different spots, aren't they more likely to get closer? I mean, I guess you averaged it to a point where it's a single point, but
if you guess like the number of jelly beans in a jar, and you have 100 people guess, the average of the guesses is going to be better than what any person could do consistently.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, all right. So moving on to the last one. Okay, here we go. The lesson of the week. So, like I said, I'm going to be trying to present to you a lesson every week so that you can learn, you can grow, you can sort of take our I don't want to call it advice. Advice is from experts. We're definitely not experts, but take our words and
do what you will with them.
Do what you will with them. Actually, absolutely. I like that. And like we said, this week is focused on rapid prototyping, which actually I didn't talk about rapid prototyping in crowd consulting. I don't know how I would rapid prototype that.
Okay.
Let's start with kids. I don't know.
Kids in boxes.
I'm just kidding. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm only kidding. No, so rapid prototyping. So it might be better to start off with this lesson at the beginning of the podcast, but rapid prototyping, as I think of it, is kind of broken down into really 5 points, and they go in chronological order. I think it's very, very start, you break the problem into pieces. You structure the problem into its root causes so that you can clearly answer each part of the problem. Because if it's one big problem, you only know a symptom. You don't know the disease. You got to break it down so you know what crucially is causing that problem.
Right.
I think that's essential for rapid prototyping because that'll get you a solution faster than just trying to throw up different ones and see if it fixes the overall symptom. If I'm a doctor and I just cut off your leg to fix a cold and it doesn't work, we're like, oh, okay, I guess leeches. We'll try that. But if I broke it down into, okay, what's being affected in your cold, down to your organs and things like that, I can be much better at finding a solution.
Okay.
It might be a shitty medical analogy, but
So
I'm not a doctor.
You're saying if you develop a product that has all these features and then you push it out there and people don't like it, and then you try to figure out which one's the most important to fix, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But if you start with the most important things, get them out, and you get some negative feedback, there isn't much you can go fix. You just fix whatever's there.
Actually, I think that's further down the line. I think it's more earlier than that.
Okay.
It's let's say I have a problem where let's say I'm a business and I have a problem with my sales. My sales are low, right? I see that my sales are low, and I see that people are waiting in my lines long, and they're actually leaving my shop. They're not ordering anything. They're leaving because my lines are so goddamn long.
Yeah.
And I figure out, okay, what is going on? And I don't even think about why is my line long. And I try to throw solutions. I just put more people. I hire more people to be on staff to make the line go faster.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Doesn't do anything, right? I didn't
more registers.
Well, exactly.
You might have people just standing around.
Exactly.
They can't help anybody.
And that's what I'm trying to say is you see a symptom, don't just try to fix a symptom. Find what the problem is. You go into a little deeper and you find out, crap. It's actually, you're right, my register is the choke point. I could put as many people as I want making those sandwiches, but they still all funnel to a register.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the point that's trying to make here is take your problem and break it down into pieces until you've figured out what that root cause is. And I think an easy way to do that is keep asking why. Why is my line so long? Well, it turns out many people are waiting for their order to be processed and pay for. Well, why are they waiting for their order to be processed and pay for? Because there's only one register.
Yeah, but that's applicable to any time in your business, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We were talking about rapid prototyping.
Well, no. So this is part of the rapid prototyping.
Okay.
Before you do effective rapid prototyping, you need to do this. Too many people try to just quickly find a product to solve something, and they don't think about what the solution is. So I guess this is more effective rapid prototyping. Let's say.
Gotcha.
Now, moving into now I have a root cause. What is my solution? Your solution has to directly answer the root cause and do, I would say, nothing more. And that's something that's been called MVP, the minimum viable product. What is the minimum my thing needs to do to solve my root causes and thereby solve my overall problem?
Yeah.
That is very, very important. Don't start off prototyping anything that's not part of your MVP. I'm a huge fan of that because otherwise you're going to be wasting your time on bells and whistles that the user hasn't even asked for yet. It doesn't solve a problem they have. It may be a good idea for later improvements, but build the foundation before you build the TV of the house.
It's possible that your MVP can change unexpectedly.
I completely agree. It can change unexpectedly, but
I think ours has changed.
But I think I would have rather identified a better MVP rather than work on the bells and whistles of like punch card integration or some things that don't actually have directly solve the problem yet. Okay, so once you have an MVP and you got an idea of the solution, define 80% of that solution and get it out there. So your solution is an interpretation of a problem, and your solution is going to try to fix that problem. Once you have something good enough to get out there, get it out there. That's kind of bullet 3 and 4. So define your 80% solution and don't overanalyze. Too many people try to go, I want to go 85, 90, 95. I don't want to release my product until it's like 99% ready. I think that's overanalyzing, and I think you're going to find that defining that 20%, you get stuck for a long time. You get stuck for a very, very long time.
Mason, it hurts my feelings when people say I suck over the internet. If there's 20% that's failing, people are going to say I suck.
You're going to have to deal with that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with that. But as long as people pay you for it, then you have 80% of the solution.
People say I suck, but
they still pay for it. So you find that people are just going to say you suck just because they want to say you suck. You're not going to be able to solve that. But if people pay for your product, that's when you've got something.
Okay.
And then finally, user feedback. So 80% solution, get it out there and quickly get your user feedback. Find a way to, internally into your product, have a feedback system. It's very general. It's very vague. And I think I'm out of time. Shit. No.
I think we've been going like... No.
I'm a pretty little boy. Right back. Russ, why are you looking at me like that?
Weird.
Russ, you're looking at me like that, and you're going to be the weird one because I'm going to cut that part out, and then everybody's going to say, Russ, why are you looking at me like that? You're weird. Oh, I have this inside out. Okay. Where were we? I don't know if I'm going to be repeating this. I'll edit it out if I'm repeating, but 80% solution. So too many people try to overanalyze the solution, I find, so that, and I am guilty of doing this as well. So I've often tried to polish something so it's perfect. I think the product reflects me. So if the product's shitty, it reflects that I'm shitty. Mm-hmm. So I completely understand trying to get a 95 to 99% solution. But I think you're going to find that a lot of times people are willing to accept the 80% solution than the 20% later. That's just in nature. We want the big problem solved now, and the little problem will solve later down the line. And I think in most cases that's the case for your clients and customers. And the 80% solution, you have to get out there right away, and you have to be able to get your user feedback as soon as possible. So once you have your product out there, find a way to get that user feedback instantly. If you can embed it within your product, if you can have some type of surveys, and if it's online, have surveys embedded in your website. If you have to go in person to your clients, like we're probably going to do in our beta testing, to get feedback, do it as much as possible, because ultimately, and this may be a bit aggressive, their opinion matters more than yours because they're paying for your product. So that's kind of how I view rapid prototyping. It's all about breaking the solution up, taking time. So I would say you spend more time. Oh man, this isn't the up-to-date one, I just realized.
Oh no.
Oh well. So I feel like you spend the most amount of time, I don't know if you see this, but you spend the most amount of time breaking down the problem into its root causes and finding its pieces. And then this part, probably defining your MVP and 80% solution, that's been probably the second amount of time fixing or finding the problem and implementing the solution. And then getting it out there should take no time at all. You got the 80% solution, it'd take 0 seconds, 0 nanoseconds. Should have did it yesterday. You were too slow. It should take no time at all. And then getting your user feedback, that also should take no time at all. The second you get it out there, start getting that user feedback. Get that input to start developing the next 20%. Or you may find that your 80% was really 65% and you need to do more developing. But you wouldn't know that unless you got it out there. But yeah, so that's my spiel on rapid prototyping. Russ, do you have any questions?
Oh, was it a lesson for me?
Yeah.
Or was it a lesson for the viewers?
No, Russ is free. No one's going to watch this. This is really, I guess I'm teaching you now.
Okay. No, I have no questions. You are an excellent teacher. Yes.
Thank you, Russ. It really makes me feel good.
I'll just have to get over when people tell me I suck. Yeah.
Yeah, people will tell you sorry, Russ. That's unfortunately the fact of life. People are assholes. Yeah. So what did we talk about this week, Russ?
Well, we talked about a couple current events on some testing that some companies are doing.
Particularly one that was exciting, one that was really boring.
Right. Yeah. There was a boring AR AR structure building 3D printing thing.
How dare you?
No, that was pretty good. I like that. It reminded me of the HoloLens, and I've been watching the HoloLens for a while.
Yep.
And then Amazon is testing its own delivery service to compete with UPS and FedEx. We talked about the non-update from Berry Wi-Fi. Nothing has happened. We're just still trying to get our clients, the first people to test out and give us some feedback. Now that we have a minimum viable product,
Yep.
At least we hope so.
Hopefully we'll have a better story next week.
And what was the third thing? What's our third thing?
It was my
our
business idea.
Yeah. Oh, your awesome crowdsourced consulting. I like that. Like that a lot.
Literally my only good idea. It's gonna be rough the next several weeks. It's my turn because I got to come up with ideas.
I like crowdsourcing anything. You take any service that anybody provides, and I think it'd be better if you could crowdsource it. But some things you can't.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I guess you could call a car wash a service. You can't crowdsource a car wash. Anyway, yeah. And then the lesson of the week, rapid prototyping, because we strung all those together, and you want to get things out as fast as you can, get feedback.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. If you have any feedback for us or anything you want us to cover in future weeks or something that we should recover for future broadcasts, we'd absolutely love to hear it. We love to get user feedback as soon as possible. Living the lesson.
Even though we haven't posted any of these yet.
Yes, absolutely. Can you give us that user feedback to videos that aren't online yet? Something tells me that that's not going to happen. And comment, like, subscribe, all that nature and all that good stuff for YouTube. That stuff really helps us out, really helps us grow. We really want to try to get a community of people together who share ideas, who share history and lessons they've learned. That's really what we're doing this for, I think. All right, well, tune us in next week where we talk about, what was the next one? Oh, was it processes?
It might be processes, UX flow.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the processes of a business, how to define a good process, and something called the user experience flow. It's something very, very technical, very cool. But tune in for that next week. Bye.
See you later.
All right. Oh.